Last week we did a construction drawing. I did some demos on construction drawing and we talked about construction drawings. They were all standing poses. We're going to try some seated poses today. We're going to add some new elements to our drawing. We're going to add the simple shapes of cylinders, tapered cylinders for arms and legs. I'm also going to use a chopstick to what I call put an envelope around the figure. I didn't make that up. It's pretty common knowledge. You can put an envelope around a figure and use your chopstick for that. So let's get started. So I've got a seated pose and I've started on gesture drawing, eggs, right up to the shoulders, slight angle on this torso, lower torso egg. I'm going to get right into my gesture, getting the angles right for these arms and legs. Keeping it very gestural, just blocking in the form. What I can do is take my chopstick and get the angle off of my reference and bring it down and make a mark so that I get that angle right. This is where we're talking about the envelope, getting the envelope. And then start with my simple shapes, the cylinders, for a complex pose. Two things I'm going to do is work with the cylinders. I've got the torso egg, lower egg done, so I know that first cylinder comes away from the form like this. I'm not going to worry about the hand that's on top of the leg right now. I'm going to keep it really light. I might make it a little bit darker than I would normally. The other cylinder is going back in space, the calf muscle, and it's foreshortened. So the best way to do it is to line up on the body and see where these things coincide. So he's sitting on the pelvic box. The pelvic box corners are here. Remember that angle comes down, comes across. It's fairly simple. You can see a little bit of the side of the pelvic box. Maybe bring it down to about there. And this angle in, which is really the pelvic crest. Okay. So the cylinder, the first cylinder for the arms, again, pretty straight on, pretty much straight on. Slight angle going backward. And a slight angle going forward for the forearm. Other arm, slight angle on the chopstick coming towards his body. It's coming towards us, so that means the top of the cylinder is going to be here on both. Just keep it really light. And then the forearm, angle, cylinder, tapered cylinder, wider at the elbow, tapered to the wrist. Just block in the hand right now. I'm going to start contouring, but I want you to try something a little bit different than just stopping and starting, starting with a light gesture and going into a contour, slow contour. Try to get it to be a little bit more integrated. Integrated is a word that I used a lot on the grading, and that means slowly building it up, strengthening it, but looking for all those contours that come in and out of the body, not just outside edges. Okay. And also in 3D, so you see muscle, define the muscle, use the soft side of the pencil, so it's not always the same dark outline. Okay. So keep developing. You're going to have another 10 minutes or so to work on the contour line here. Remember, soft surfaces like bones and muscles inside the form can be drawn softly with the side of the pencil. And just about finishing up with this 20-minute contour line drawing. And you may not get it all finished in 20 minutes, but it's what you do, how you do it, not how much you get done. Okay. So number 2 is a seated pose, seated facing away from me. Fairly straightforward on the gesture. I'm going to draw a little bit bigger on this one because it's a seated pose and I can get the whole thing on the page. So I'm going to keep it pretty light. Right away I want to get in there and get my spine so I know where that's going. I've got the egg here, but I want to build out on top of that for the muscle. Arms are pretty much straight down. I'm going to get that envelope right away. I'm going to measure out, or at least use my chopstick and get that line. Tells me where that knee should be, right about there. Let's get the pelvic box. Okay. So I see some of the side of the box, but mostly I see the back of the box. You're going to have, on a seated pose like this, when he's sort of kind of relaxing back a little bit, you're not going to have too much of an angle forward on the side of the box. You're going to kind of probably even out a little bit more. And that's it. I've got my rib cage here. Okay, and I've already got my cylinders going here. Start building up on top of it. I can start with the strongest elements for my contour. That would be probably this line of the spine, scapula, muscles on top of the scapula, using the softness of the pencil. And again, we're kind of trying to avoid any kind of shading. We're trying to do it with contour line. Edge of the scapula over here, muscles on top of the scapula. Little stronger contour line. Working up to it. A little stronger on the shoulder. There's that acromion process right there, the bone, the bony landmark. It's not really very evident with this lighting, but that's trapezius. Accent on the butt. Coming back around contours. I want you to spend 20 minutes on this drawing, so spend half of it at least on working up the drawing. In other words, gesture and construction, and then and only then contouring. And wrapping up this last bit of contour on this 20-minute drawing. Let's try one more. So this last pose is a toughie. He's leaning back. So I want to get that curve. His shoulders are going back toward the left side. He's got a strong tilt on this egg. So it comes together as a nice curve there. Pelvic box. Angled pretty far down this direction, right? Okay. Cylinders. There's cylinders all over the place. So if I want to get that angle right on that one leg, here's the cylinder here. I'm going to darken these cylinders a little bit more so you can see them. Okay. And then the other cylinder, I want to get that angle from his shoulder down. And that's going to give me the length out, and this is a little bit of an angle on that cylinder, tapered to the knee. Okay. Not too much of an angle on this cylinder. Come straight down here, lightly. This one, the back leg, is right back leg. It's really strongly foreshortened. So here's my cylinder here, 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 there. Okay. Right into the ankle and the foot. I keep that fairly light so I can go back over it with contour line later. This cylinder just disappears. This cylinder goes back in space a little bit. Okay, so the curve would be here. And then it's coming back towards us. Forearm. Disappears behind his hip and then block in the hand. Okay. Rib cage on both sides. There's a slight angle on his shoulders down. I want to make sure that I get that. Come back here. He's leaning on a chair, so I won't worry too much about that cylinder there. Block in the thumb, the hand, coming around back into the form. Coming straight across. Navel. A little bit more contour on the head and neck, around the head and neck. Right to the manubrium of the sternum. Other clavicle. Working my way around the form. And doing that for another 10 minutes or so, turn it into a beautiful contour line drawing.